So another purely American movement is going to be American Regionalism, or American scene painting as it's sometimes called. And this is a naturalist style of painting and art that was popular in the first half of the 20th century. The artists of the movement will depict scenes of typical American life and landscape, painted in a naturalistic, fairly descriptive style. American scene is an umbrella term for the rural American regionalism and the urban and politically oriented social realism. After World War I, many United States artists will reject the modern trends stemming from the Armory Show, in part as a reaction to the war. Oftentimes, when we see war, we will see far more conservative movements following that war, and then things will develop from there. When we get to the next war, we end up with the same thing, a little more conservative, and then redevelopment once again. And we see the same thing around World War I as we do around World War II. So instead, they adopt an academic realism in depicting urban and rural scenes. Much of the American scene painting conveys a nationalism and romanticism of everyday American life. They're trying to create something that reflects the American life of everywhere between LA and New York oftentimes. And as an anti-modernist style and reaction against the modern European style, this American regionalism was seen as an attempt to define a uniquely American style of art. So as soon as we've seen the Armory Show and Precisionism and Surrealism, and the Americans are starting to get involved in all of these movements, all of these basically modern movements, we see this reaction back. So we're pushing back to a more conservative, more realist movement in this case. And that's not a bad thing. It's just one of these cycles that we see in art history. And it doesn't mean that we can sit there and look at history and go, oh, I can predict what's coming next. That's foolish. There's always a black swan. There's always something that you wouldn't expect at the time. But it does give us a general idea. So if you're looking at a painting, you can kind of start to date it based on realism versus abstraction, American versus European.